a lot of kids come, a lot of families bring their kids, and it's just the kind of the perfect way to enjoy the summer. Tonight we've got 4 different wines that we're pairing some of our favorite wines to sip during the summer. And don't feel like you have to open all of them if you have them with you. We're going to post this to our Facebook page, on our website, so you can come back and listen later, or go through some of the wines on your own if you choose. Also, we're joined tonight by one of our favorite bands. This is Cahoots. And I was wondering if, Dan, you could talk to us a little bit about what you're doing. Oh, but first I want to remind everybody to stay muted so we can hear the music. Dan?
Right. Hello. Thank you for having us in this very new world. A new world where live music is not so easy to really experience at the moment. In fact, we've been on social distancing for quite some time here as a band, and it's the first time that we've really been able to get together in months. And I can say that music is a healing thing, and it's just one of these forces in the world, like fermentation and the growth of grapes that turn into some elixir that you know so well about. Let me introduce the band here. I'm Dan Imhoff. I live in Healdsburg. We have Craig Anderson from Santa Rosa, and Drew Rogers from Cahoots. Andy Tester, also from Cahoots, on the bass. And we're here in one of our favorite places to have played over the many years, in the Speakeasy at Medlock Ames. I remember lots of really fun nights of live music, and just lots of community coming out to experience it. So thank you for your support of live music, and for having us experiment with this new kind of Zoom music platform. And I think what we'd like to do as a band, as Cahoots, is we'll have the lead singer kind of introduce the song. This is a song that's very dear to me. It's an old Neil Young song called After the Gold Rush. Ready? Yeah? Sure. I dreamed I saw the knights in armor come, singing something about a queen. There were peasants singing, and drummers drumming, and the archers split the tree. There was a fanfare blowing to the sun. It was floating on the breeze. Look at Mother Nature on the run, the 21st century. I was lying in a burned out basement, the full moon in my eyes, hoping for a replacement when the sun burst through the sky. There was a band playing in my head, and I felt like getting high. I was thinking about what a friend had said, and hoping it was a lie. I dreamed I saw the silver spaceship coming, the yellow haze of the sun. There were people crying and colors flying all around the chosen one. All in a dream, all in a dream, the loading had begun. Flying Mother Nature's silver sea to a new home in the sun. Flying Mother Nature's silver sea to a new home.
That sounds beautiful, guys. So I'm gonna pour one of our wines. This is our 2018 Sauvignon Blanc. This is, for me, this is sort of the perfect summer sipping wine. It's cold. It's has a lot of acidity and creaminess. It's just kind of perfect for enjoying a nice warm summer day. Unfortunately, it's not a warm summer day here in California. It's we're having some unseasonable rainy weather. It's nice from the perspective of we always need water in California, but our grapevines are going through bloom right now. It's sort of this delicate period when the flowers the fruits being pollinated, and rain can interrupt that process. So we're hoping that we don't have too much damage to our crop because of this. And I also just wanted to give you a little bit of background on Medlock Ames. This is a company that my best friend and I started about 22 years ago. We were both living in New York City, and Chris had taken his first vacation in 3 or 4 years. He'd just been working his fingers to the bone, but barely without a day off. And he finally had a chance to visit Tuscany. And he came back with this renewed sense of, what life's all about. Instead of, working so hard, he realized that life is really meant to be enjoyed. It's meant to be appreciated with food and good wine. And so he came back and he said, Ames, I've got this great idea. We're going to quit our jobs, leave New York City, and move to California and make wine. And I didn't know the first thing about it. And we went out to dinner, and it took about one or two glasses of wine before I was convinced. And within a few months, we quit our jobs, moved to California, and pursued our dream to build this winery. So it's sort of really, really lovely that we're able to share our dream with all of you. So we're grateful to you all for being here. So Dan, what have you got? What's next on your playlist?
I'm gonna let Anderson introduce the song here. It's a song called Rain, written by Craig Anderson.
Going along with what Ames just said, it's a song about rain, about California, about a hope. I said, rain, rain on the troubled land. The cloudy skies are a welcome friend. I said, set the seeds in this parched earth free. I said, I let the rain fall down on the tree. I said, rain, rain, come again. Wash away the fears of man. Oh, and clear our eyes so that we might see what this earth might truly be. 'cause instead of giving back to the land, we cut some steel and we pour it down. And the clear water that used to run free is a stagnant pool where it hits the sea. I said, rain, rain on the troubled land. Cloudy skies are a welcome friend. I said, set the seas in the parched earth free and let the rain fall down on me. On flesh and bones my life depends. Though it scatter my ashes to the wind and set the cleans of this parched earth free, like the drops of the cloud or the deep blue sea. The drops in the cloud or the deep blue sea. Said, rain, rain on the troubled land. Cloudy skies are a welcome friend. Said, set the seeds in this parched earth free and let the rain fall down. I said, rain, rain on the troubled land. Said, cloudy skies are a welcome friend. Said, set the seeds in this parched earth free and let the rain fall down. I said, let the rain fall down on me.
We keep going?
Sure, yeah, if you got it, if you want to do another one in a row.
Is in honor of John Prine, one of our great 20th, 21st century songwriters. Who died, passed away from COVID this year. All right.
Well, I am an old woman named after my mother. Old house is another child that's grown old. If dreams were thunder, lightning was desired, this old house would have burnt down a long time ago. Make me an angel that flies from Montgomery. Make me a poster of an old rodeo. Well, just give me one thing that I can hold on to. Leaving this living is just a hard way to go. I was so young, girl. Well, I had me a cowboy. He weren't much to look at, just a free-rounding man. Well, that was a long time, no matter how I tried. Years just rolled by like it broke it down. Make me an angel that flies from Montgomery. Make me a poster of an old rodeo. Well, just give me one thing that I can hold on to. Leaving this living is just a hard way to go. Well, there's flies in the kitchen. I can hear them in there buzzing. And I ain't done nothing since I woke up today. How the hell can a person go to work in the morning, come home in the evening and got nothing to say? Make me an angel that flies from Montgomery. Make me a poster of an old rodeo. Well, just give me one thing that I can hold on to. Leaving this living is just a hard way to go. Make me an angel that flies from Montgomery. Make me a poster of an old rodeo. Just give me one thing that I can hold on to. Leaving this living is just a hard way to go.
Guys, that sounds amazing. That's so beautiful. When I used to be in the Peace Corps in Guatemala when I was a couple years out of college, and when I was really feeling homesick and just missing being in the United States, I used to love to listen to John Prine, and it really kind of gave me a nice dose of home. Is that sort of those classic American stories that he tells, and I think you guys did such a beautiful tribute just there. And I was curious about the last song you played, the one about rain in California. Was that an original, or is that? Yes.
That was an original. Yeah, thanks.
Awesome. And I was just imagining if you guys are playing music, you're live, but you can't really interact with the crowd that well because it's hard to get the feedback in this virtual setting. But I've had, I'm reading the comments that are coming through, and people are sending you virtual clapping. So I just wanted to let you know.
Well, that's so sweet to hear. I'll just say, like Medlock Ames, our music is totally local and of this place. And people can go to, on Spotify, they can find the album under Cahoots Philosophy. And that's, the songs are on there. Thank you.
Cool. So the next wine that I wanted to pour for you guys is our 2018 Rosé. And this is also one of my favorite summertime wines. It's best enjoyed crisp and chilled. And this is made with Merlot. And I don't see a lot of rosés that are made from Merlot. In Sonoma County, we grow a lot of Pinot Noir. And so you often find rosé of Pinot Noir, or sometimes from from Rhone varietals. But the Merlot is sort of special to us. When we first found our vineyard, it was all planted to Merlot. And some of our oldest vines were starting to fall off in production, but they still had some beautiful fruit on them up on our terraces. And so we make a rosé from that wine. It goes direct to press, so it's kind of keeps this really vibrant freshness, and it's sort of the perfect, along with the Sauvignon Blanc, just two perfect summertime wines. I always put myself, I grew up in Virginia, and so I always think about it on a hot summer day. You can see a bottle that's like been chilling in the ice. You can almost imagine like the beads of sweat kind of rolling down the bottle, and it's such a perfect summer visual for me. So I'm glad to share it with you. And now I'm looking forward to hearing the next song from Cahoots.
Next song.
Are we on?
Yeah, we're on.
All right. Hi, everybody. We're back. Thanks for hanging with us. This is a blast. It's so nice to play again. This is another original tune written about, still pretty appropriate, all the noise that we're all faced with every day coming from all directions. And this song is just escaping that and saying, just float and forget about it and relax. So I hope that's a good pairing with this wine. I think it might be. Roads go everywhere. The world's gone insane. Hearing a whistle, we're missing the train. One ear singing angels, one ear molten fire. I'm seeing a baby bird on a wire. I'm getting so tired, wanna cover my head from the clashing tsunamis in a sea of dread. So just float. So just float. Fences are everywhere, senses a clog, expressions and lessons turned up in a blog. TV's on gas pumps, spinning on news, yelling from the radio the silence of the truth. So just float. So just float. Bring hush to the home. Give rest to the oars. Orange horizon, open ocean smooth. The pelicans are sleeping and I'm thinking about you. Arch to the backbone, tilt back your head, toes in the air and your fingers spread. So what are you gonna do? Just float. So just float. So suggest. Float. Suggest. Float. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's amazing how just even through the limitations of my computer monitor and the melody and the harmonized singing really come through beautifully. So it's such a delight. I'm curious, what's the inspiration for what's the inspiration for that song?
I think it's just the constant ringing in the ears. Before we all went into shelter in place, there's been these years of just constant barrage of signs and flashing lights and noise from cars and radios blaring. And it's just all too much. You can never hear yourself think. And the only thing I thought of when I wanted to do was be on the ocean somewhere, floating on my back. That's what I wanted. And so that's where that came from.
Wonderful. So the next one I wanted to pour for you is one that we call our Estate Red. It's a blend of typically Cabernet and Merlot. Sometimes we throw in a few other varieties in tiny amounts. Every year it's a little bit different, and for me it highlights the magic of blending. That's kind of one of the most fun and exciting things I get to do as a winemaker, is mixing and matching different lots of wine to create something that's better than any individual component of that wine. And the red is sort of our classic example of that. And it's also one that, to me, it's one of my favorite summertime wines, especially if we're grilling, because it's for the 2017 version that we're pouring. We put in about 4% Syrah, and that's the only time we've ever put Syrah in this wine. And even in 4%, you can't really taste the individual Syrah, the part of it, but it gives you this hint. Syrah can have this almost like a meaty, gamey feel to it, almost like white pepper, like a little bit of smoke, and it's like it really pairs well with grilled meat. So I'm drinking this one to think about grilling out this summer, and hopefully getting to listen to some more live music if when things open up again. So cheers. Oh, and also I just wanted to make one other comment. Some people are already using the comments. So since we've got everybody muted, if you have any questions for me or for the band, you can type in the comments, and we'll try to answer your questions along the way or at the end. Are you guys ready for the next song, Dan?
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
This is an Andy Tester composition called Grapevine.
Yeah, and it's I know we're at wine tasting and everything. It's not necessarily about grapevines. It's, if you ever driven up from Southern California to Northern California, it's kind of more about that. Cover your eyes or you go blind. Don't look for the light. Don't get stuck on the grapevine. San Joaquin's out of sight. Who shot the light in the night sky? Spotlight shine just like thunderstorms. They stop against and say, welcome. Cover your mouth when you wonder how they build so tall. I won't threaten to jump again, and I might fall.
Wonderful. So the last wine that we're going to pour tonight is we call it our Heritage Merlot, and the reason we call it that is because when we first found the vineyard 22 years ago, it was all planted to Merlot, and it's planted to this very special clone called the Jefferson clone, and it has sort of this long and interesting origin story. We're not 100% sure if it's true or not, but we think Thomas Jefferson may have had something to do with importing this clone to the brand new United States a few hundred years ago. And one thing that's distinctive about our Merlot is that it has a lot of California Merlot can be very jammy and kind of like very soft. And that makes it wonderful for blending with Cabernet, for example. But sometimes it can be just a little bit too flabby on its own. But our Heritage Merlot has that clone has a little bit more backbone to it. It's got more structure, and it also has this spicy character to it that I find distinctive and something that I really love. And also, it's just kind of a funny story about our Merlot. When we first bottled our first Merlot and were ready to start selling it, we had 700 cases of wine. I had no idea how to sell wine, and right sort of the week that we were getting ready to take it out into the market, this movie came out, this very popular wine movie called Sideways, and in the movie they just trashed Merlot and just sort of made it so that nobody wanted Merlot anymore, and that was the only wine we had to go into the marketplace. So it was it made it more challenging, but I learned a lot about people's taste preferences and how they can be affected so much by popular culture. It's really interesting. But now we're seeing this resurgence, sort of like this counter trend where Merlot is becoming very popular again, almost because it wasn't cool. Now it's becoming cool. But anyway, so the Heritage Merlot, it's something we've made for a long time, and we're really proud of it. Cheers.
watched that movie not long ago, that Sideways movie, and the script was really incredible, but the message was really not good. I mean, like, Pinot is the only wine to drink. It makes no sense, but way to go for persevering and keeping these varietals.
Yeah, but it's kind of funny because there was probably Merlot was probably overplanted. There was a lot of bad Merlot out there, and so that movie kind of the result was a lot of people stopped. It took out their worst quality Merlot, and it became a good value for consumers because they couldn't demand as much price. But the other result is that people started overplanting Pinot Noir. And then there became just a lot of bad Pinot out there. So it's has sort of a double-edged sword.
Way to hold on to Merlot.
Yeah. Thank you.
This song is called "Hold On." It's another good song. I just want to show you folks that you can get our CD online, Philosophy, or you can find us online, write to us, whatever. And put us on your Spotify list. There's some quite good music in there. This particular song, I think it was coming out of the fires. It was coming out of the present administration, like a sense of despair, and trying to find some gospel joy to hold on to.
Trouble comes knocking on everyone's door. Taps on your window pane, casts its shadow across your floor. Dressed like a princess, moves like a thief, preys on your every weakness, and leaves you standing on your knees. There comes a time in everyone's life when you lose a spark, lights your fire, and once in a while the darkness falls. You can't see the light right before your eyes. You got to hold on, hold on. Yeah, you got to hold on, hold on. What you believe in, hold on. The ones you love, hold on. All those pieces of yourself that you've been dreaming of. Sure as the sunrise, true as the cloud, pure as the blue-black midnight silence in a house with no one else around. Strikes like lightning, it cuts like a knife, draws you caught with such utter disregard. Whether you're good or you're happy or you're nice, there comes a time in everyone's life when you lose a spark, lights your fire, and once in a while the darkness falls. You can't see the light before your eyes. You got to hold on, hold on. Yeah, you got to hold on. What you believe in, hold on. The ones you love, hold on. yourself you've been dreaming of. You got to hold on. Yeah, you got to hold on. What you believe in, hold on. The ones you love, hold on. All those pieces of yourself you've been dreaming of. You got to hold on.
Well, I want to thank everybody so much for joining us tonight. We're opening it up to questions. If anybody has any questions for me or the band, I've got a few questions for the band. And then the band's just going to keep playing until about 5:30. So you're welcome to stay and join us and listen. One comment, somebody entered in the comments asking when we're going to open again for tours and tasting. And we're excited we're eager to get a chance to see our customers again. But we are definitely, obviously want to follow all the counties and the state's rules. And also just, we're not in a hurry to open. We want to make sure that everybody stays safe, both our employees and customers. And fortunately, our vineyard and winery are able to continue to operate because all of our work is outside. It's very easy for us to stay separated from everyone. And fortunately, we're considered an essential industry. One of the questions I have for the band is, I'm just wondering, as musicians, how are you guys able how are you guys managing the shelter in place order? How has that affected you as musicians?
Can you hear us? Okay. Well, if you're a musician, you have to spend a lot of time practicing. And so, but without the interaction, without the dynamics of sometimes playing with other people, for me personally, it's it's very inward, and music needs to also be outward. So to have the chance to really interact and have musical conversations, it's really something, and it's quite hard to do when you're just by yourself with sending people files and things like that. But you got to keep playing. You got to do your musical practice. It has to keep going.
And this is the first time we've played together in over 2 months. The first gig we played together as a band in probably 9 months.
Wow.
Such a pleasure to be here.
Well, it's a real honor for us to have you guys,
It's great to be here.
playing here.
Yeah. I didn't ask him.
No.
Oh,
Well, sorry, what? We're confused. We can't hear so well.
Okay. I guess the other question I had is, since we're in the wine business, we're always talking about wine. What are you drinking during this time?
Mossy.
Who are you?
Tonight, Medlock Ames.
Yeah. Good answer.
Yeah. Ames and Brittany and Julie, thank you very much for having us here tonight.
You're here.
It's a really good space. It's a really good space. Got some really good mojo in here.
Well, thank you so much for joining us in this this interesting collaboration. We're really excited that you guys played with us, and we're willing to take a chance this new format, and hopefully we won't have to get used to this. But it's great to know there's still a way we can connect with everyone. So we really appreciate your help.
Ames, I was really sad to hear that you guys got very affected by the fires.
Yeah, the fire swept through our ranch. Fortunately, the vines themselves were mostly spared. Vineyards are a really good protection against fire, but most, 80% of our ranch is wild land, and that was hit hard by the fire. And it's devastating. It's really hard to see. And right now that spring has arrived, you can see the contrast between what has survived and what didn't is very stark. But I also am able to see the resiliency in nature, and it's a lesson I didn't want to learn, but I'm glad I have learned it, just more about our ecosystem and humankind's role in how we interact with the wild land around us, and what we need to do to best protect this natural resource that provides so much to us as a company, but it's also a shared resource of all people, and really millions of non-human species depend on that land too. And so we're trying to make the best habitat for all creatures.
Yeah, well done. And I'm sorry. I mean, luckily there was that buffer. You did have those wildlands, but we also have really enjoyed playing in that oak glade there on that part of the ranch. So I imagine that's a big hit to the beauty of what you have there, and it will take some time to heal.
Yeah, we've got a lot of work ahead of us.
Yeah, everybody does. Yeah. One more? How many do we have? Two more? One more?
Yeah.
All right. This is a song called Light Your Candle. It's from an album called Owl Country. Light your candle, turn your lamp down low. Light your candle, turn your lamp down low. Put your hand in mine. Just come sit by my side. Ooh, honey, I just wanna see you shine. Oh, honey, I just wanna see you shine. Whisper secrets, things I may never know. Kiss me sweetly, say you don't have to go. The moon is high. Pour another glass of wine. Ooh, honey, I just wanna see you shine. Oh, honey, I just wanna see you shine. Restless dreamer, I know you love the road. Forever fearless, think of me as you go. The moon is high. Pour another glass of wine. Ooh, honey, I just wanna see you shine. Oh, honey, I just wanna see you shine.
such a long, long while since I've seen you smile. Ooh, honey, I just wanna see you shine. Oh, honey, I just wanna see you shine. Ooh, honey, I just wanna see you shine. I heard said God is dead, but I saw him fishing by the river. I'm not alone. I'm homeward bound on the long, bumpy road, lost and found. Shadow walk in the valley of death, burden of the world like a weight around my neck. I'm not alone. I'm homeward bound on the long, bumpy road, lost and found. Leaves are falling to the ground, and I can smell those fields of green, like a train calling me from my troubled sleep. We try to be sane in a time so dark, bad for the brain, worse for the heart. I'm not alone. I'm homeward bound on the long, bumpy road, lost and found. Leaves are falling to the ground. I can smell those fields of green, like a dream calling me from my troubled sleep.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks, everybody.